Hello, everyone. For Channel 6 TV, Community Focus, I'm Dennis George, and spring's definitely in the air, and today we're at the Lebanon City Park. We wanted to do an interview with Matthew Mattingly outside, but you've got the lawnmowers going, and we kind of had to bring it in so we could hear one another, but thanks for joining us today.
I appreciate y'all coming in.
You got guys mowing this field, mowing other fields. I guess it's just that time of year where you're trying to get all the fields prepared. Talk about the different leagues that you're going to have going on out here this year.
Right now we've already got middle school season that has started for middle school baseball. They started, it was like March 17th, but they've started practices way before then. We've also got Little League practices going on. That is baseball, softball. We got middle school softball that comes out here. The high school will come out occasionally if their field's underwater. They had to already bring a tournament from the high school out here because their field was underwater or wasn't playable. So they came out here on a Saturday a couple of weeks ago and they played 4 games out here.
All right, let's say for Little League and softball, your age categories and number of teams you have in all those leagues.
I haven't got the total amount on the girls' league. I think right now on the 9 through 12 girls softball league, they've got 5. I haven't heard on the 6 to 8 girls yet or the 6-8 boys. The baseball, this is the first year since I've been out here that they've had to combine 9 through 12 together. And I think also on the because the reason I said I think because Little League is run by a board and they've got their own board that runs themselves, and Will Knight is their president. I done it for like 7, 8 years, whatever it was, and then I stepped aside and let somebody else come in. But they've got it's like 5 in the 9 through 12. I'm not I'm not sure through 6 through 8. But I think also this year on the on the coach pitch, which I call 6 through 8, they're allowing some 9s that have never played ball this year to play in that league to get a grasp before they got to go over and face live kid pitching.
Well, and they learn the game and not they won't be scared when they move up, I guess.
That's the thing. I mean, and I'll say this, even when I played, when I was 9 years old and I was growing up, and then you had to face a 12-year-old, your first thing is, I don't want to get hit. I don't want to get hit. So.
Well, that's in the field as well.
Yep.
You know, we were talking before we came on that you have the Babe Ruth, what's known as the Babe Ruth field down there, and I guess there's no Babe Ruth league anymore.
There's
more the middle school.
Not around here. There's no Babe Ruth anymore. The Babe Ruth is now your middle school. And we tried to bring it back a few years ago, and then the kids did not want to play. After they play, they got a 40-game schedule that they've got scheduled, but they will only get in like half. But they, like I say, they play right outside this building here, and they've been here for a few years now.
But I guess in some ways, Matthew, we hear about these kids who play the same sport all year long. It's probably good to get a break and save the arm because you hear about all these young kids having arm surgery at a young age.
You do. It's overuse injury where they wear it out all summer long, and then it does give them a chance to get a break. Dennis, you know as well as I do, you've coached before, every sport is year-round anymore. I mean, there ain't much of a break period anymore in any sport. So.
Right. I guess one thing that we were talking earlier, and you read about things going on in other communities where school systems, even I'm aware of some areas where Little League will pay the park for some of the maintenance on the field. That's something here in Lebanon and Marion County that the city takes on pretty much the entire expense, if you want to talk about that.
The city takes on that whole expense. Before I started, I've been here almost 12 years, but I worked here when I was in college so I ain't far from 20 years. So what it is, the city takes care of that. And the reason I think the city done that, and you may be on city council when this happened, was because so that they don't come and ask the city for money. The city agreed to take care of that maintenance if they'll fund themselves. And that's why out here on like some other parks you'll go to, like Harrisburg, places like it, Little League runs their own concessions. They've got 2 concession stands they run during the summer. The only time they don't run them if there's tournaments, and then when the tournaments are here, they'll hide all their stuff. The tournament brings in whatever they're going to sell for their concessions, and then on a tournament though they do pay. They pay $125 per field for the weekend.
Okay. You were talking about concessions here. Do the different leagues get to have their own concessions, or does the city run that?
Just out here, Little League runs the whole concessions. Even at soccer over there, they run their concessions. There's the same thing like over here. The city, they don't ask the city for money. We take care of the mowing. We take care of the painting of the fields on a weekly basis. They take care of running their concessions. That's how they fund for whatever new stuff they want.
All right, and you also save money because everyone who's doing work, whether mowing or liming the fields or whatever they're doing, they're not all city employees. You get some free help from the county.
Yeah, we get 3 inmates a day, and the only thing we're required to do is to buy their lunch. And they love coming out here. And most of the time, and I should say most, but 99% of the time, we'll get really good help from down there. They get out. They don't have to look at 4 walls every day. They get to come out here. We got 105 acres that we got to mow and weed eat all summer long. So we use them probably. The only time we give them a little break is about like January and some February when it's really cold outside. That's kind of our little slowdown. But other than that, we're full go from about March to December anymore.
All right, talk about some of the activities. I mean, it's not all baseball. It's not all softball. It's not all soccer. I know you have a list of just some other things that go on at the park. I know we're going to go have an interview with Lisa and Allie Martin about the autism walk, and that may be one of the next things on your schedule out here.
Besides the tournaments, yeah, on April 16th, that's supposed to be the autism walk. And if you've never seen that event, you really need to come out here and see that, because she has all kinds of games. There's some displays out here where you can buy stuff, the autism logo and things. It's really nice. They give away medals. They give away all kinds of prizes to these kids that come out here. And also, there's another thing coming May 14th. And like I say, I'm just giving you things that's not tournaments because everything's tournament-based on the weekends. It's called the Insane Inflatable Race. Tourism's bringing that in, and it's what they've told me so far. It's the same people that's done the 5K, this Color and Motion Run that's been out here the last 2 or 3 years. It's the same group, but they're just doing a different philosophy. And it's supposed to be a 5K that's going to be strung up through the whole park, and it's going to be inflatables like an obstacle course that you go through that. Then on June 10th, as what I've been told, and they've already booked this, is Relay for Life. So,
all right, you talk about baseball tournaments. Do you usually have something about every weekend with some type of league, just for people that may want to come out and watch baseball?
Yes, we do. Right now, like I'll just give you some dates right now: April 19th, April 16th, 17th, April 30th, which is a little bit different. It's just not baseball. It's a co-ed tournament for adults, and they play up here on these 2 little fields up here, and they use this ball. After about 2 hits, it's like a sponge, and it takes all you can just to even. People get up there thinking they're just going to jack home runs left and right. Well, I played softball my whole life, and then I'll go over and watch, and some of them can't even get it out of the infield. The ball gets so mushed up.
Now, is that something that someone's putting on, or is that something the park is doing?
They're putting it on, and this year's tournament is for this little girl. She's got this rare something wrong with her that there's only one doctor in America that can do the surgery, and it's out in California. And supposedly this surgery could cost up to $500,000, and they're just trying to raise whatever money it is. And supposedly if this girl gets a call, they have to leave immediately. So.
Okay, now do you all put on any tournaments yourself, or you all are just the site where people come to do it?
We're the site. We're out here. Most of the things most of the tournaments put on is by travel teams. That's what they do every weekend. Little League used to do a tournament, but what Will Knight has changed and his board have done now, they do, instead of Little League putting on a tournament, they do a thing out here. They sell chances through the year, like on an iPad, things like that. They have a Little League night out here where all the Little League teams come out, and they got a dunk booth, things like that. That's what Little League's kind of went to. But other than that, most of your travel teams do the tournaments out here.
All right. If people wanted to have some type of activity other than the athletics, what do they need to do, or what is available to them?
Well, another thing they've got out here too, we got 2 pavilions out here. We got one that's over here at the VFW, and then there's one by the pool. We got a lot. They're rented out. Actually, you don't pay for them either, but you just call the pool, you book your whatever date, you see if it's available. There's like family reunions over there. A lot of these factories, this is where they have their little company picnics at now. They'll come in and they'll set up like cornhole games, things like that for their employees.
Now, are you busy most weekends with those things?
Yeah, the pavilions will be booked up pretty much all the way to October every weekend, both of them.
All right, if there's weekends available, what number do they call? The aquatic center?
If
they call City
Hall? If you
Hall?
want a pavilion, you need to call 692-9358, and that's the Lebanon Aquatic Center. The reason we give you that number is because most of the time we're not in the office over here. We got an answer machine. If you leave a message over there, I'll call the pool, say, hey, here's a phone number. Will you call them to see if you can get their date squared away?
So it's one just cut you out as the middleman.
Yep, that way they've got somebody at the front desk at all times over there.
All right, and they have grills and things around the pavilion?
There's grills around
charcoal
every pavilion.
grills?
There's grills. It's like in certain areas of the VFW. There's grills on the playground as well. If the pavilions are booked and you say, hey, you want to move a couple picnic tables down, there's about 3 or 4 grills that's over on the playground area where you can go over and cook as well.
Okay, and that stays. So the park, basically from about 2 or 3 weeks ago, your season ends what, end of October with soccer, or how far do you go?
Soccer will play, this season will go to about October, first week of November, because they play every weekend. Baseball, Little League baseball has to be done by June 15th on kind of district and state play.
You know, that's part, I guess, of school starting early, because, you know, we were talking earlier about they're getting ready to start. Heck, we wouldn't start till almost the end of May when school started, and All-Stars was up in about August. So I guess the changing of school dates affects what Little League does as well?
I guess so. It really hasn't really, because if you advance further than the state level, well, if you watch the Little League World Series, most of them kids don't want to keep playing ball because that's when school's already started.
Right.
And that's one thing, I'm going to just throw this line in there real quick since we're talking about Little League. I know a few years ago we had the Little League State Tournament. It's coming back to us again next year. When we had it that year, there was 9-10 teams. There was 11-12 teams. Then there was 11-year-old teams. So this whole park was booked up from teams from all around the state of Kentucky.
You probably put a lot of time in about those few weeks before
that
and
right
leading
there,
up to.
You average, when we had it before, for about 4 or 5 days, we was averaging anywhere from 18 to 20 hours a day.
Did you sleep in one of these buildings?
No, I got lucky because I live an hour away. Little League paid for my hotel room out here. They gave us a good deal, and I stayed out there for a couple of days. If not, my mom still lives in Loretta, so I go there.
So instead of going to the hotel, you went to Mom's and just turned in the bill, huh?
Every now and then. I know there's food there.
Okay. Anything else that we need to pass on?
No, only thing is I'm going to say this. If you've never been out here to this park, you're missing out. When I first started here, we was 35 acres. Now we're 105 acres. And we're not only responsible for the park, we're also responsible for the football field at Center Square and the buildings at Center Square. So when there's like a reception, like anything like a function inside the gym at Center Square, we're responsible for cleaning up and setting that up and cleaning up the building.
All right, how many people, we talked about some of the inmates who help out, how many people do you have on your crew?
Besides myself as the full-time employee, I got one other full-time employee out here. Then I got 4 part-timers right now. 2 of them just help cover the weekend shifts because we got somebody covering 365 days a year or on call. 7 days a week. So, but 2 of them I got. One of them works another job. One of them's still in high school, so he just helps cover the weekends. And then I've got 2 that's in college where they stay here and work during the day and help out on the weekends as well.
Matthew, let's talk about the batting cages. This building that's fairly newly constructed that people can come out and use at no cost. You want to talk about that for a minute? Yeah,
in this facility here, and I'm going to correct you, Dennis, we can't call it a batting cage. We call it the indoor facility.
Okay.
Because not only it's not just for baseball or softball. We got soccer teams that also come in here and use this.
So you can have an indoor, do they just practice or an indoor game?
They come in here and just practice because I think that from what I've been told, they go to Lexington a lot and play in an indoor league up in Lexington. But this thing is booked up pretty much year-round. It kind of slows up about 1 month. As you can see, we got 4 nets in here for whoever wants to use it. We've got a net that we can bring down the middle if I want to put 2 teams in here, and they can split their practices up so they're not interfering with the other group. And also, in order to use this we ask everybody to reserve. They call me to reserve or text me. Most of them text, hey, is this available? And I go and look. And if it's not reserved on a time slot, that if I'm not here to schedule it, then it's first come, first serve on that net.
Okay. Now, in looking at the cages, does it require a human to pitch, or do they have machines here?
Yes, it could require someone to come in here and pitch to you. That's one thing we've not had anybody donate us yet, or pitching machines. This one net right here, net one, was paid for by our middle school program. The other 3 nets were paid by the Marion County Little League program. This building here was built by the city employees, so that saved us quite a bit of money by them doing that. And as you see, there's turf on the floor. You can see it's a little dirty right now. It's been occupied all weekend long.
We come out and hit golf balls too.
You can try if it goes through that net, you're on your own.
But you were talking about again. There's no cost to people, and I know if you were to go to Elizabethtown or you go to Lexington, you have to pay for that practice time.
Yeah, most of those places are privately owned. A lot of those here, the city of Lebanon owns this building. The city wanted to add something else to their park that people don't have to pay to use. And this right here, it's great. Say they just call, they reserve a spot if it's available, and then they can come in here and use all they want.
And you've played sports and have coached sports. You get better during the off season. You refine your ability. So in baseball, from September until about March of the next year, that's when you actually get better because you're practicing and not worried about games and things like that. If you'll talk about that for a second from some of your experience.
That's just, my opinion on that. That's where a lot more of the work comes in. That's where your self-dedication comes in. Do you want to go in there and push yourself harder to be the better guy for next year? That's what we'll have a lot of parents that bring their kid out here by themselves, and they'll work with just their kid or whoever it is out here then. It comes down to dedication.
Okay, well, we appreciate your time, and I guess you're going to be busy the next few months.
We're getting there.
Okay. For Channel 6 TV Community Focus, I'm Dennis George.